Hello and welcome to Out of the Box on the Games Done Quick Hotfix, the show that believes that if you can watch it, you can run it. My name is Atitri, and as we come closer to the end of the year 2025 here, I hope you have had a year full of many things to remember, many experiences not to forget. And among the many things that happened in games this year, there was a surprising resurgence of ninja. Between ninja and martial arts, you will find this evening to be a night full of runs about martial arts and ninjas, starting with the Year of the Ninja on Out of the Box, 2 games from this year that show some of the best high-flying sword-fighting action that the year in games had to offer. And we will start that with none other than Wuchang Fallen Feathers, an any percent unrestricted run from Hazeblade. Let's get it.
Thank you very much. Well, hello everyone. My name is Hazeblade. I am a full-time content creator from Columbus, Ohio. I'm also a U.S. Navy veteran, and I love Souls games. I also love horror games as well. You'll catch me a lot of times playing Resident Evil, in addition to bouncing around the FromSoft games too. Dabbled in some other Souls-like titles as well. And yes, this is Wuchang Fallen Feathers. Very fun game, just came out last year. And man, it's a bit of a slow burn compared to other Souls-like games, but it is a lot of fun, and I'm excited to showcase it for you guys today. So I'm going to go ahead and start the new game here, but the time will start after we skip the first cutscene. So we'll go ahead and get that started. And this game can be a little challenging to talk and play at the same time. Just a little bit of a disclaimer, but when you're watching, it's actually quite easy to follow along. I will try to explain as much as I can. And once we skip this timer or this cutscene here, then the timer will start. That's going to happen in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you.
But yeah, you'll get the experience of locking in along with Hazeblade on some of the boss fights here.
So right off the bat here, you may notice that I am kind of going crazy with the dashing. That is because in this game, dashing is very fast. We don't know exactly how much time it saves, but it is pretty considerable. And it also is variable, given that we build our character throughout the run to benefit more and more from it as time goes on. So it starts by saving a few seconds per minute, and by the end of it, we're going like 40 to 60% faster than normal. So the move tech, very, very important. We'll be grabbing a handful of checkpoints in this run for areas that we need to come back to later. But less than a minute into the run here, and we are already skipping the first half of the game. We are gonna head over here. And there's some boxes in the corner here by this wall. And if we just get up on that rock and over, this takes us all the way to Cloudspire, which normally you don't get to until after you beat Commander Honglan, which is a very significant chunk into the game. So we do have a deload that we do here as well. We kind of take our time getting into the cave, and then if we dash...
Yeah, that looked certainly easy to do, but how does that affect the rest of the run in terms of how much more difficult things get from here on out?
So we are going to be level 1 for a while. So naturally, as you can probably expect, us being in the second half of the game already, we're probably going to get 1 to 2 shot by anything if it touches us. So we have to be pretty careful in this section. But we do have some fairly optimized movement through these sections, so we shouldn't have too much of an issue. But we are essentially going to the second half of the game first. Like I said before, movement is so important in this game. So that first item that I just picked up there is a Crimson Lantern Fruit. That is one of the items that we need. These are consumable items that reduce your stamina cost for a period of time. So there are small fruits and large fruits, yellow and orange. And the yellow fruits give you 30 seconds of cost reduction. The orange fruits give you a minute of cost reduction. So normally we would actually do a quit out here, and this elevator would teleport to the bottom just like it does in all the other Souls games that you might be familiar with. But they actually patched this game so that the elevator would come down faster for us. So for marathon purposes, when we're going against RTA, it is faster for us to just go ahead and wait for it. If we weren't on the other side of the elevator over here, that guy probably would have one-tapped us, but fortunately he just kind of forgets that we're there if we just hang out in that spot. So we'll put that fruit on our bar. So again, this is one of the 1-minute ones. And you'll get to see just how powerful this is because we actually use it fairly soon after. So, but there's quite a few elevators and ladders in this game, which just like any other Souls-like game, that is, plenty of time to, on stage at GDQ for donation reads and whatnot. But obviously, we're explaining away things currently. So this is Cloudspire here. That is sort of like the entrance of Cloudspire, where we sort of have a fork in the road that would be uphill a little ways. But one of those forks you can actually get to sooner by a dev-intended skip at this riddle door that's over here. There's a handful of these throughout the game that if you answer it correctly, you get a prize. And if you answer it incorrectly, you get punished. And we are going to take the punishment because it's faster. So select the first option there, and he's going to send us even further into the late game, and we'll be all right though. Like I said, we have some good tech that we can use. So
yeah, I mean, health is a resource like anything else. So if we need to get punished to go faster, that's a time-honored tradition.
The next item we're picking up here is, if you're familiar with the Souls games, these are the consumable souls. In this game, it is called Red Mercury. So I just ate that fruit there, and you'll notice now if you look on the lower left of the game in the HUD, now when I dash, it barely uses any stamina. So now instead of only being able to dash 3 or 4 times, I can dash 10 or 11 times before running out of stamina. So just like that, we're already moving almost twice as fast as we were before. And we are just going to cruise along here and keep building our character. So this game does actually have quite a lot of parallels, believe it or not, to Elden Ring. So if you guys are familiar with the Elden Ring run, you will probably like this run quite a bit. It is very easy to get into, and a lot of that is in part due to the fact that the first roughly 15 minutes of the run, give or take, is mostly setup. And that kind of gives you an opportunity to get used to the movement and, sort of how the inner workings of enemy pathing is laid out and all of that good stuff. This item here is called a benediction, or a Benny for short. This is one of the 3 bennies that we are going to pick up throughout the run. This is combo ignition. We're going to have a flame build for this run, and so this is going to enhance our fire attacks as we start to develop that. Another elevator, always fun. Just for safety, we're going to go ahead and drink a couple of times just to make sure we're at full HP. We did take some fall damage on the way down from that rafter that we started on. And at the top of this elevator, we are going to be experiencing one of a few, we only see it one time in this run, but there's a few scripted occurrences where one of the collectibles in this game, they're these little like anthropomorphic bamboo shoots. He's going to get absolutely wrecked by a landmine, and it's really funny.
Oh, geez.
You'll notice on the load screens, by the way, the little load icon on the upper right whenever we load in is one of those bamboo shoots, and he shakes his little butt at us before he burrows underground. All right, what?
I was wondering what that was.
Whenever I get tired of resetting this game, what keeps me going is the fact that I can look forward to watching him explode in between resets. Little minor skip there up the hill there saves us from climbing this ladder, which we are at risk of getting hit by the 2 guys that were following us. And if we get good luck here, they'll actually drop combat, but they did not. I did mention earlier that there's in and out of combat stamina regen, similar to Elden Ring. So we want to be out of combat as much as possible because that gives us the fastest movement. And there are some RNG occurrences of us breaking out of combat. That was one of them. Unfortunately, we didn't get it, but that's okay. We're going to take an intentional death from the tree ant here after we grab a very essential item to our build, which is the Child's Hope Pendant. And then we're going to go ahead and let him go to town. We can actually go ahead and equip that pendant now. Wow, he's really taking his time here. Normally, you can actually quit out and use the chisel, which is the equivalent of like the dark sign or the lost grace that is in Elden Ring to like return back to the checkpoint and lose all your souls. It's called the chisel in this game. We could quit out and use the chisel there. You can only use it out of combat. But again, RTA is faster this way. And now we're going to head back to that fork in the road, which is the Hills Watch. And we're going to now be going to the other side of that fork. So both of those forks in the road, they ultimately lead to the 2 triggers that we need for the end of the game. And that is to defeat Fang Ling, as well as to defeat the tiger. This path is going to take us in the direction of the tiger, but again, we are focused more on our build right now, so we will be coming back to finish the job later, so to speak. I'm going to try this skip once because we have time for it, but if I fail it, that's okay. We'll do it the normal way. Yes, there we go. All right. That skip saves 4 seconds. And it's mostly for style points, I'd say, for marathon purposes. Normally, you can actually... What's that?
It's always worth it. Always worth it for style points, especially if you have the time to spare in your estimate.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We have about 4 minutes in the estimate to spare. Obviously, things don't always go according to plan, and dying in this game is pretty much a minute time loss for having to like load the save file and wait in the menus and all that stuff. So we've got room for about 3 deaths. Hopefully that won't happen at all. This is an AI manip.
Do skips like that one represent why this is the unrestricted category?
So unrestricted is fairly liberal in this. We didn't actually find any like crazy broken tech, but it's mainly a nod to like the out of bounds and stuff like that. There are some frame rate manipulations, but those have mostly actually been routed out. So I would say that it's more in the interest of, you know, just allowing a lot of the like more wonky stuff that could potentially be found down the road. The enemies that I just ran past, by the way, that is actually an AI manip. We're going to eat another one of those fruits there, by the way. We'll have another minute of reduced cost. And yeah, so those 2 packs of enemies we ran by, that's an AI manip. Those guys, if they touch you, it's pretty much over. If you're going for a PB or a record, it is instant reset if they touch you, because they will 1 or 2 tap you. Like I said, we're still in the end game, or not necessarily the end game. I would consider this like the late mid game. And that fortress that we just ran up, we grabbed a spell that is called the Lotus. It has a longer name, but we just call it the Lotus. And it is the, in my opinion, and I would say in all speedrunners' opinions, like undisputed most powerful spell in the game. You'll see why here in a few minutes once we're done with the setup. But it is just gross. Any boss that's bigger than you just gets absolutely destroyed by that spell. So I did mention we were going to be doing a fire build, but we do have a spell that we're going to be using in tandem with that that's going to help us build stagger on the bigger enemies, so that way we can unleash the fury when the time comes. Just some movement up here. We're getting another checkpoint because, once again, we'll be back here later. We're actually setting up the ending already, funny enough. And that is because of the way that the quest triggers work in this game. If we go through and just like start killing bosses, some of the ending triggers for the secret ending can get missed. And the secret ending, funny enough, or I should say one of these secret endings, is actually faster than just completing the game normally. So
nice.
Think of it like the Shura equivalent.
Okay, yeah.
In this game. It's not quite as fast as Shura, but... We're headed to the Zenwu Temple. We're going to hope that this guy doesn't aggro. If we hug the wall, he usually doesn't aggro, but sometimes he can stick you into combat, which slows you down a little bit. And he can close that gap pretty quick, which is a little scary. We're going to switch over because we actually have like a forced 1 second wait to interact with this ladder. Perfect opportunity for us to switch over to the shorter fruits. We're going to eat this fruit. Take a couple of steps here, and we're going to hope that the archer kills the guy. Yes, he does. Perfect. That gives us a couple extra souls for when we go to level up later. I'm going to try to take a safety strat here, because this line, if we get killed, can be pretty punishing.
Nicely navigated. Oh, hearing the door open. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
All right, that was close. Fortunately, we made it. We got hit once by the guy at the door. Like I said, you get 1 or 2 shot in this. Fortunately, we can take 2 hits.
Yeah, I was thinking more in line with like an Elden Ring, where, you know, you during door open animations, you're actually totally in the clear. That is
fortunately, you get iframes for most of it, but like the last couple frames, the last couple of frames are not safe. Fortunately, we can also dodge out of that too. So it just kind of depends on whether the game gives him the hit before it gives you the dodge. All right, so we are now headed back to the start of the game. And that is because we, of course, are still working on our build first and foremost. But in order to unlock the max potential of our build, we have to actually go through like the full tutorial area where the game, you know, it teaches you how to play the game. And then it also gives you all of the like stuff in your inventory to be able to build your character and all that stuff. We actually can't do any of that right now. We can level up, but we can't increase our madness meter, which I'll explain later. We can't slot skills into our weapons, things like that. That all gets unlocked through progressing fully through the tutorial area. So this is the boss encounter that you're supposed to fail, which is pretty customary in most Souls-like games. So we just kill these two enemies, and then we're going to go ahead and equip our stuff, and then we're also going to crush all of the souls that we just found. We're also going to take off our top 2 pieces of armor, so that way we die a little bit faster. And after we die, a quick bit of tech that you won't see, because of the fact that you're not supposed to see it, is the fact that during load screens, we can actually menu. And I would have done this normally earlier, but I had time during the treant to equip the talisman, but we can actually equip our armor back and slot in our madness incense while we're loading in. Just like that. And now we are going to, I'll do it first and then I'll explain it. All right, so what I just did is called the infinite level glitch, and you can do this as many times as you want, but I, using only 10 or 11 levels worth of souls, just gave myself 143 levels. And this works by triggering prompts in the menu that allow you to confirm even after you've already spent the souls, because the window doesn't actually check if you have them after it's been opened. It's only in order to actually open it, you have to have enough. But once it's already open, you can kind of do whatever you want. So we are now able to build our character mostly. So I'm going to fly through these real quick and get the skills that we are able to get for now. We're not able to get everything, though, because in this game, you're only able to grab the levels for the weapons that you actually own. So we are going to be picking up a spell sword as well as a spear. And there's some levels that we need to get, but we can't slot them in until we own them, which will be happening here in a little bit. The next thing we can explain here is the madness meter. So I mentioned earlier at the start of the run that this game is a little bit of a slow burn compared to most Souls-like games. That's actually because this game layers on the actual Souls systems the more madness that you accrue throughout the game. So if you look at the silhouette of Wuchang in the lower left part of the screen, right now it's about half full. When I consume this second maddening incense, it's going to be completely full. And that has now put the Souls mechanics into full effect. And the trade-off of that is that I actually take more damage, but I also deal more damage as a result. So this game kind of gives you the option of having a higher risk, higher reward approach. And so obviously for speedrunning, we want as much damage as we can get. So we're willing to assume that risk.
and casually, if I remember right, there are also a number of other mechanics associated with this. Like if you die when in this state, you have to essentially fight a phantom on the way back to do a corpse run. Do I have that right?
Correct, yeah. And then that only happens if you're at max meter. That's another little minor skip there. Saves us dropping a ladder, basically. It saves about 10 seconds. But yeah, so it only happens when your meter's maxed out. And when that demon dies or kills you, one or the other, it will reset your madness back to 0. There are also consumables as well that will reset your madness meter too. And if you don't use that maddening incense, it accrues rather slowly. So again, a bit of a slow burn. First actual boss of the run here. And let's just say it won't take long. She's dead. Being level 110 definitely makes the tutorial bosses short work.
A little bit. Yeah, you didn't seem to have any problem staggering her, so... Do you have any sort of
lines
indication
here.
on how staggering? Like I know you get the character over the enemy when stagger is available, but is seeing how it builds kind of down to knowing where you like your weapons and your build are, or is there an indicator for that?
Yes and no. So most humanoids can actually be staggered by a charge heavy attack to the back. Some of them are like frame perfect that you have to do them. Others are just like as long as you land it, it works. She is one of the ones that does not have any sort of like frame requirement. So the last two items that we just picked up, those are the spell sword and the spear. We are going to hit this guy twice so that way we can conserve our Skyborn might. If you're familiar with Lies of P, this is the exact same thing as Fable in Lies of P. So we need to accrue charges of this so we can use our weapon arts. And we are now going to the final tutorial boss, who is going to help us unlock our fire build with Temperance. We're going to free aim this weapon art. And then we're just going to toggle double R1 weapon arts. Okay, the whirlwind attack is not what you want, but it's okay. It only is a couple seconds slower. And he's dead. We're going to equip the spell sword. We're going to throw the temperance on bar as well. And then, again, this is normally you would quit out and then you would chisel. In this case, it is ever so slightly faster RTA to just go ahead and wait for it here. So there's a lot of prompts that come up when you kill your tutorial bosses. So we can also get the applying of the temperance out of the way right here too. Normally we would have to do that at the shrine. But when you unlock it for the very first time, just like we did when we unlocked Benedictions with the last boss we killed, it'll give you the window the first time. And now we will teleport back to the refugee camp, so that way we can set up the ending. So again, we're going for the secret ending. We also need to get another Benny, and we're going to get that from not Wuchang, but everybody's favorite shady goblin dealer, Wuchang. And we're going to crush some souls because we need to have exactly enough to buy it.
Well, you've got potential.
We have to hand him the bowl that we picked up right before Dutanga.
Hey, if you come across
And then this one here gives us more damage the more disciplines that we know. And we earn those by unlocking them in our impetus repository, which is like the skill tree menu. So everything is kind of combining here to give us our build, of course. But the reason why every one of these aspects is so important, right? Of course, I would say that the number one question is, okay, so, you know, why are we getting all this stuff? Why not just like gas up our weapon all the way to like plus 10? Well, because of how much we skip in the game, we actually don't find any upgrade mats in this run at all. And so as you can imagine, doing this run with a +0 weapon and not having like any of the other stuff is very, very painful. So believe it or not, it's actually faster to like go out of our way and get all of this stuff than it would be for us to detour and grab all of the upgrade mats, because the upgrade mats are very, very deep into the run. And because of the Cloudspire skip that we did at the very beginning, it just gets us to a place where we are nowhere near any of that stuff. There are 2 feathers we could go for +1, but it actually throws our damage off a little bit in the late game, and so we don't necessarily want to do that. So we'll go ahead and equip that Benediction. Again, we've already done our Temperance, but we do need to go to the Impetus Repository and level up the Spell Sword for those discipline skills, as well as the Spear. And the reason for these is, of course, you know, we're not just grabbing them for the sake of it. We actually do need these abilities for some things that we're going to be doing later. But with that, we are going to teleport back to the Rebel Camp, which is now going to sort of send us to the final phase of the setup. There's a few things we'll grab in the boss rush phase, but this is where we will unlock one of the sort of gateways that gets us to the end of this path for the endgame trigger. I also just realized that I forgot to level up my Temperance, so I will have to do that here in just a moment. I need 3 charges of this. This is one of the ones that is like really, really easy to forget to do.
Sure.
So we'll
Yeah, I
hop over
love
here
the
real quick.
like listening to Souls players who play different kinds of Soulsborne games. It's like listening to code talkers who like work for different organizations, like the CIA versus the like it's just Red Mercury. You mean the Souls? Yeah. And then you go to the Impetus repository.
I'm gonna have to. Oh gosh. All right, I'm gonna have to hope that I don't die here, because having to reset that checkpoint, unfortunately, means that I am now having to regenerate my Skyborn Might again. All right, that should be enough. Should be all set. All right, we're gonna drink up here, and then just to make sure that we're good, we're gonna do this. Perfect dodging gives you Skyborn Might. That's one of the major elements and benefits of playing aggressively. And a lot of the things that help synergize with this build, it really is found on the Impetus repository, which is why we go out of our way for all these weapons and being able to just generate things in a certain way. So we do have our boss coming up here. So we're going to toggle weapon, and then once he hunkers down, we're going to cast that Lotus spell we picked up earlier, and watch his health bar just get absolutely deleted. And then from that point, we're going to double R1 weapon art until he is dead.
Nice.
Now, he just gave us a different longsword called the Flamebringer, and this weapon is arguably one of the best weapons in the game, regardless of whether every single weapon class has just like absolutely insane weapons. This is kind of like the god tier longsword, but it is arguably one of the best weapons in the game. The weapon art that's on it is just dirty. Infernal Firebrand is not to be trifled with. We do need to build our weapon as well. I did mention earlier as well that this game is very difficult to talk and play, so I'm going to focus on playing real quick so I don't forget to get my weapon to where it needs to be. But essentially, we are basically just transferring the stuff that was on our old weapon onto the new.
Yeah, and like
so there's
you mentioned earlier, as far as this being a game that you focus on your gameplay, I'm just going to share a couple of observations.
Sure.
But yeah, like you mentioned, this was a good way to get into Souls-like games in that it features systems that are very peripheral to a lot of other things that other Souls games have to offer. And definitely in that last fight, you saw both the benefit of, for not being able to upgrade the weapon, just the benefit of good weapon strings and your character being built, plus an item that is essentially kind of an analog to a magic build in an Elden Ring or what have you. So it definitely looks like the game features lots of different options for how to build out for different kinds of combat, and synergizing between them seems to be the fastest way from what we're seeing.
Yeah, the build synergy in this game is fantastic. Fun fact, the game is actually designed around you using multiple weapons all at once. And it's called Swift Draw. And we'll actually be doing a single Swift Draw in the entire run. And that will be during the Fang Ling fight. But yes, there is actually the whole sort of integrity of builds in the game is kind of defined around this idea that using multiple weapons in tandem with each other is absolutely how they want you to do it. So we will most certainly be trying to do that throughout the rest of the run, because we are sort of done with the setup phase and now entering the boss rush phase. But before we officially get into that, we have to go through the biggest reset point in the run, which is the Zenwu skip. The Zenwu skip is a royal pain in the butt. If you're going for world record, it is basically at the point where you have to YOLO this guy now.
Oh, jeez.
He can actually throw these like frost masks at you while you're on the ladder, and he'll just keep doing it. So when we were first routing the run, a lot of people were killing him, but during the bounty that the Wuchang devs put up a little over a month ago, the run got so optimized. Shout outs to Nico, by the way, for winning that, and winning like a $4,000 laptop. That was the grand prize that was put up by the devs. Wow. Yeah, Nico with a C is a phenomenal runner of this game. Shout outs to him. But prior to him getting an absolutely insane time during that bounty, most people weren't YOLOing that ice mask guy, but I would say at this point you kind of have to. Definitely possible to get record without it, but I would recommend for sure going for the YOLO if you want to go for a competitive time. Now we're going to do a quit out here for safety. You don't need to quit out here. It's just very, very risky if you don't. This was actually the new way of doing the skip was actually found during the bounty. But the old way of doing it was actually a collab between me and Nico. Okay. This skip has gone through, oh gosh, probably 5 or 6 iterations now, and it is very long, and every single part of it is a reset point. So just bear with me here. I do have save files in case this goes horribly wrong. But I will show you guys the new way. But normally we would actually use the skill that we put on the spear to get over this ledge. But during the bounty, it was found that you can actually nestle yourself up against this ledge. And if you're ever so careful, you can backdash. See if I can get it here. Being stubborn for me today. Let's try it one more time. Otherwise, I'll switch to the spear. It doesn't want to work for me today. But that is normally the way that you would do it. Let me go ahead and switch over to the spear. Actually, I might need the spear out. Okay, I'll go ahead and do it the north. Oh, there we go. But yeah, you can get over that ledge like 1,000 different ways. I'll talk about it here in a minute because we are nowhere near done with the skip. Sure. Next, we have to go into this corner and hope that we don't slide off, which we just did. But again, I do have a save file, so we can load that. But yeah, so the first way we were doing is we were climbing the ladder, and then we were doing a solar leap with the spear, which is what we're actually setting up right now on this part. We were doing a solar leap to get over the ledge, and then we found that you are able to use a solar leap just from the ground to get over. And then it was discovered during the bounty that you can actually backpedal and get to it. But pretty much at any point in time during this skip, if you fall down, if you get hit by an enemy, we are RTA half an hour into this run. In game time, it'd be about 25 minutes. It's very painful to reset here constantly. And I would say the attrition rate on this is probably near 50%, maybe more. This is a very, very painful spot for speedrunners. All right, that should be good, hopefully. Nope, that is unfortunate. Very unfortunate. So you want to kind of use Wuchang's foot as a guide to keep it like parallel with a particular tile that has a fairly distinct black line on the ground, like multiple stories below us. And that's sort of
it wasn't even the one on the terrace that you're on. Great.
Yeah, it can definitely be a little tedious. But this is by far the hardest part of the game. If you can master this skip, you will get runs fairly far. And that's saying a lot because there's a coin flip at the end of this run. But yeah, it is quite painful to do this skip. So, and we're gonna try to guide Wuchang's foot along that tile. All right, that should be good. There it is. All right.
Nice.
I have save files for every step of this, so if we keep failing, we'll just keep loading the save files. There's 2 ways of doing this part. This way is officially been discovered to be fastest, which I totally just dropped down the wrong side. I need to go about a pace and a half a little further to the left there. And it'll kind of like land us on top of the pile of like sticks and stuff that's over there. And then we can do a smaller solar leap to get over to the other side. And again, the attrition rate on this skip, if you look at all the different angles, is about 50%. So again, if you can master this skip and get it less than 50%, you're going to get a lot of runs to the end game. But unfortunately, this is Wuchang speedrunning right here. So when you get past this skip, it is a huge sigh of relief because most of the bosses are scripted. All right, so we drop off. That puts us on top of the sticks. We do a solar leap to line up the next part. We look down, and then we align Wuchang's right toe with another distinct black line that's in the little shadow piece there. And then we look ever so slightly to the left and do another solar leap. There it is. Switch to the spell sword, because we need to generate Skyborn Might before the boss. By the way, we're not done yet. We're still in the middle of the skip. You can fall off here, so we're going to try not to let that happen. There we go. We need to trigger a deload up against this wall so that way we can go around the boss room that is right here. This right here is actually a boss room, and we want to go around that. And then we need to get back inbounds by dashing over these rocks. And then we are immediately going out of bounds again at the top of this ramp to complete the skip. And hopefully this doesn't troll me, because this section can be pretty toxic. Okay, thank goodness. All right, the skip. Oh, and of course we fell off. Remember what I said about it trolling me? Never celebrate until you get actually like on the other side of the out of bounds.
True. I was waiting for you to say that. Like, I was literally about to celebrate with you because you sounded like you were in the clear, and yeah.
Okay, we are officially done with the skip now. Thank goodness.
Nice.
We now need to switch back off of the spear and onto our primary weapon. And then we need to generate 1 charge of Skyborn Might off of our friend here before heading upstairs. We need full Skyborn Might for this boss up here, and then we also need to hope that he behaves. There we go. We dodged the cannon for the final charge. Switch over to our weapon. Normally we would firebrand, or I should say temper, after we open this door, but I don't like risking it in a marathon setting. And as soon as we skip this cutscene, we are going to be casting our spell. And going for 5 R1s. Followed by a weapon art. 2 more R1s, and then we're going to see what he does here. I'm slow playing this one a little bit because this fight can troll pretty hard, but we did make it to phase 2. Bad RNG on this one, but that's okay. We can at least stay topped off on Skyborn Mights. And then he's going to move over to his other attack. And as soon as he does, we're going to cast the spell again. And this will stun him, and then we will be able to polish him off. 2 R1s, weapon art, followed by 2 more R1s, and then a double weapon art for the kill.
Like watching you just find the safe spot right in like the nape of his arm there while the giant laser beam was firing. It's like, no, we're good. We can cast here.
And then we chisel and we say goodbye to the like 75,000 souls that we got, but we don't need them because we duplicated our levels. So, oh yeah, we can definitely do that. And then from here, we are headed back to the Rebel Camp. So that tiger is one of the triggers that we need for the end game. And if we were to go down that hill, that's actually where we teleport to the end game, but we have to do the other trigger first, and it's faster for us to take the teleport on the other side of the game than it is to actually run down that hill. So we're now back at the Rebel Camp, and this is... yeah. So, hopefully this guy doesn't hit us here. The iframes only go so far.
That's a heck of a sentence right there. It's faster to take the teleport
too long for
on the other
boss.
side
So we
of the
are in the
game
boss
than
rush
to go
phase.
down the hill.
As of the last boss
You wouldn't think it, and yeah.
that we just killed, it is pretty much just running directly to bosses at this point between now and the end of the game. So, setup phase is over. We do have one final item that we need to grab that is build essential. That will be right after this boss. This boss is super fun, but his positioning is very tight. This is the Ming General, Liu Chengen. And yeah, I'll just let the fight speak for itself.
All right, chat, lock in.
Once this blade served me, now it does for the blood of invader. Such why wasted on rebellion?
Unfortunately, I did not get the one cycle, but that's okay. All right, there we go.
your foundation is solid.
Yeah, shame to let the boss take a turn, but it was still a very good lesson in the idea that this game really incentivizes you to stay aggressive.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I was able to parry him in that attack that we did there. That's actually one of the skills that we transferred onto the primary weapon that we're using now. And normally you don't actually get a parry in this game. Normally you're kind of relying on dodges, but there's a lot of different defensive plays. So some of your weapon arts, you'll notice that in the lower left side of the screen, we actually have two of them. One of them is usually designed for like utility, and the other one is designed for damage in most cases. So that item that we just picked up there is Burning Ignition, which is just another just really, really good fire build item. We're also going to be consuming the rest of those fruits that I was telling you about earlier in the run. This is a fairly long run to the next boss, but we are running straight there. But that's why we get all these fruits, is because now we basically just get like 3 minutes straight of just running with minimal stamina consumption. But we'll actually have a moment where we're out of bounds right here, so we'll get a little bit of stamina regen out of combat before we then go by and grab, you guessed it, yet another handful of fruit. We try to grab as many fruit as we can throughout the run. There are a couple that are kind of optional that you could get, but given how short the run is, we've pretty much routed in all of them except for one set that we think if it did save time, it might only save a second, but it's like really, really toxic to get. You basically drop directly down onto a bunch of explosive barrels, and then you have to loot the fruit and get out of those explosive barrels before an archer blows them up. And yeah, good luck.
the Crash Bandicoot fruit.
Yep. Yeah, it's a little bit of Crash Bandicoot vibes for sure.
So yeah, this run has taught us two important lessons. Stay aggressive in the face of problems and always eat lots of fruit.
It's good for you.
Yeah, I think those are meaningful life lessons. Chad, are you on team short fruit or long fruit?
We've got
definitely some eats that I like. I like a good banana. That's a long fruit, clearly.
Quite a run still here. I've been begging for somebody to find a skip for this area because this is by far the longest run outside of the actual end game. But the thing is, with the end game, we actually have to cross from one side of the map to the other. There's not really a way around it. This particular area has a lot of like verticality and ups and downs and all that. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of skip here, but the community for this game is pretty small. So actually like getting together and glitch hunting and all of that stuff is a bit tedious.
Fair.
But we are desperately hoping potentially for a skip for this area, but also there is a conceptual skip called the Tree Skip that takes place in Zenwu Temple, just outside of the refugee camp, that Distortion 2 is absolutely desperate for somebody to find. And while he hasn't put an official bounty up for it, he was joking in my chat a couple of months ago that he might have $100 for anybody that finds out how to do it consistently. So,
right on.
If you're trying to make if you want to make a quick buck, hit up Dist for all the key info.
Yeah, I mean, like there are a few better opportunities to develop new strats than either one, like you were describing earlier, when the devs put out speedrunning bounties, or if it comes from the community, or two, when a run gets into an event like AGDQ, which incidentally, AGDQ will be live in Pittsburgh from January 4th to 10th. Registration is still available now, so you can register if you want to experience the event in person. You can head over to gdq.gg for more information on that.
This run is also going to be on stage at AGDQ.
Exactly. Sorry, I kind of dropped the lead on that one, didn't I?
No,
that is why I mentioned it.
Yeah, this run will be on stage at AGDQ. It'll be at about 5 p.m. Eastern time on day one. That's Sunday. I believe that's the 5th. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I do believe you are correct, but I'll give you a quick double check on that. No, it's going to be the 4th.
The 4th. That's right. Oh no, I opened the door. Oh, this is going to be tight. Please don't troll. Okay, all right. We're going to play it safe here. We're going to play it safe. Okay, this is actually okay. All right, R1 weapon art into the riposte. And then we are going to R1 her until the health bar gets right onto the letter A. And And then we're going to do the same thing for the R1 weapon arts. And then we're going to rush up to her, double weapon art, and she's gone.
Very nicely done. I admit, I had like a quarter of a second there where I was like, which A? And then I looked and, oh, there's only one A in the whole name. That's convenient.
There's two. I'm sorry. I probably should have specified. But yeah.
True. Wrong and
the
Yang,
A that you saw.
Yeah. I figured you meant the one
that
slightly
one.
further in.
It's just that one.
You know, where the R1 string stopped, it was probably that one.
Yeah, there will be an incentive at AGDQ as well for the ending selection. For the run today, I'm going to do the fastest ending, but that ending incentive is going to be pretty cool. You'll be choosing not just for whatever cutscene that we watch at the end, but actually you're going to be choosing between two different sets of bosses, which is super, super cool. By the way, I am going to grab this checkpoint for safety. It is one of the only checkpoints that I'm grabbing that I wouldn't normally grab in a PB or world record attempt. And that is because that skip that I just did there, where I dropped down onto that ledge, very toxic, and if we fail it, we lose 10 minutes, so I'd rather not do that. I do have save files, of course, but because of the elevator to the boss being like literally right there, it just makes sense to grab the checkpoint. So also it gives us an opportunity. Well, I'll explain that later. All right, so we are going to flame on right before the cutscene here. This is my favorite fight in the game. I'll shush for a second. You guys can watch and appreciate the intricacies of this fight. And maybe listen out for the OST coming up on phase 2. Amazing OST coming up right here. Here's that swift draw, the only one in the run that I was telling you about. Oh yeah, the banger OST. Oh yeah. I need to quit out here, but I just really like listening to that OST, and I had to, so.
No, for sure. Make that a moment to sneak in one extra donation during the run so you can listen to it some more.
Oh yeah. Well, we're going to have to just see it on stage at AGDQ if the tech guy can just turn the music up just a little bit when we get to the phase 2.
Yeah, probably.
They did that on my Tofu run, and it was great back in 2019 GDQX, and that soundtrack is great too. And we just got to listen to the heavy metal guitar for 6 minutes. It was a good time. All right, so we are officially in the end game. So this is that teleport that I was telling you guys about. We need to talk to this guy, and he is going to send us to the end game. And like I said, it's a little bit faster to do this, which literally sends us completely to the other side of the game, than it is to actually run down that ramp. Because if we did everything in reverse order, we'd have to do that skip like 40 minutes into the run. And yeah, and ain't nobody want to do that.
No, yeah.
All right, so the chisel that we got from killing one of the trigger bosses, I don't remember which one it is actually, but it actually lets us change our benedictions without having to be at a shrine. So I just did that while we're waiting for the like Wuchang prompt that we get every time, or it's like the madness descends prompt right there. It's a little bit of downtime that we have to just go ahead and do that while we're waiting. And then this is the final trigger for the secret ending. We need to tell the storyteller that we're not gonna help him. We're gonna say no thanks. And then he's like, well, sorry about you, boo, and then we leave. So you have to do a few things in order to get the secret ending. So this is the ending. It is called Successor of the Bow. And so essentially, normally what you would do is you would go back to the Reverent Temple for the like normal endings, and that would actually send you into this like facade that takes you to the Bow capital. But for the secret ending, you'll remember that we talked to the red clad lady a few times throughout the run. We talked to her on the in the tutorial area on the way up that like really long staircase. Also, now is a great time for us to start eating fruit. We have 2 fruits left that we can use. But we talked to her in the tutorial area on the way up to the 2 tutorial bosses. We also talked to her outside of the refugee camp when we went to the avian dwelling after we bought from everybody's favorite shady goblin salesman, Wuchang. And then the other trigger is to tell the storyteller that we are not going to kill her. We are going to kill her, but we're just not going to do it on his terms. And that is the trigger for the ending. And as I mentioned earlier in the run as well, we do have some time sensitivity on that. Because of us skipping around the game as much as we've done, we can actually go so far to the point where those triggers actually disappear because we're too far into the game. So it is just in the best interest that we take care of them sooner rather than later, so that way we can ensure that we get this ending, which is about 2 minutes faster than the regular ending.
When you say later into the game, you mean to say like when we go from zone to zone, the game's logic kind of progresses? Okay.
So like in Elden Ring, another Elden Ring comparison here. So like in Elden Ring, like when you enter certain areas and then like NPCs, like their flags get met and then they'll teleport around and whatnot to progress the quests. Same exact concept here. So if we go too far or kill a certain boss or meet any of those conditions, then she will disappear and it'll no longer be possible to get that ending. So another little jog here before we get to the final 2 bosses. We're almost at the end of the run. Got a couple of minutes left. Another one of those little bamboo guys. He's so cute. He's not going to get blown up, though. He's safe. Don't worry, guys.
Under his blessing, our plan is end. Stand in my way, and I
All right. Another one of my favorite bosses in this run. This is the Melania of this game that we were about to fight. And she can be an absolute pain if things go south, but fortunately we have some strats. Backstab with the weapon art. We're going to go for 2 R1s and a weapon art. And then a jab, weapon art, jab, weapon art, jab, and then a charge attack, double R1 weapon art. And there she goes. Goodbye. Very, very cool fight. I'm going to do a quit out here. This door takes a little while to load. It might actually still be faster RTA, but I don't mind doing a quit out on this one just for good measure. Yeah, she is a very, very tricky fight. I actually think that her first fight, which we skip, of course, her first fight is very, very challenging, but I think that's a lot in part because of the fact that you're so low level in a casual playthrough the first time you fight her. But she has got some moves, man. She's got some serious moves.
Yeah, Souls bosses with mobility are just generally terrifying. Like, having it on one move is predictable enough, like a giant leap in or something like that, but having it on everything, you cannot let up even for an instant, especially in a game like this that, as we've said so much of the evening, really incentivizes being aggressive.
Yeah, it's not the first of its kind in the past year to do that too. I'm not sure if you played the first Berserker Kazan, but Kazan is a very similar type of style where you are heavily rewarded for being aggressive. Assuming
I have
that you
heard that. It's definitely on my punch list. It's something I'd like to check out.
Phenomenal game. Kazan, we got spoiled this year. Kazan and Wuchang, they're both phenomenal games. All right, final fight of the run right here, guys. We are going to full combo, and we are missing on purpose, I promise.
Okay, I'm listening.
1R1 into the riposte. Double R1 weapon arts into a double R1. She does a spear, that's good RNG. R1 weapon art. All right, we are coin flipping here for this last section. If she does the right attack, we will one cycle her. If not, we're going to lose like a minute.
All right.
And she did the bad thing. Yeah, this is probably the worst part of the speedrun is the fact that this boss is a coin flip. You get all the way through all of the toxicness that is the Zenwu skip and the boss rush. Just a coin flip.
She just decides to take off for a while.
Hopefully we get the stagger here. Yes, perfect. All right, we should cycle her here. All right, time is coming up as soon as her health reaches 0. Time.
GG's. Very, very cool run. Honestly, just kind of a primer on Souls in general. We got to see how synergy came together kind of all at once. Like, you showed the basics before you were able to dupe the levels, and then everything was like, all right, so we're going to use all 6 of these systems, but we don't have the weapon for it yet, so give us a couple of minutes. And yeah, it was a very cool clinic and seeing that all come together, and excellent job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, this is a really, really fun speedrun. It's a great game casually as well. Like I said, it's a little bit of a slow burn, and I think it's a slow burn for all the right reasons. For people that are like really used to the fast-paced Souls-like games that we've seen with Kazan and Lies of P and Lords of the Fallen and all of that, it is definitely a change of pace for sure in the first probably 6 to 8 hours of gameplay, I'd say. But once you get a build going and you start to see the synergy with doing like swift draws and getting to try out the other weapons and swapping out the weapon arts and stuff, there's a lot to experience in this game. It is a lot of fun.
Very, very cool. Aside from Sunday, January 4th, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I stream full-time on Twitch and YouTube. You can find me at youtube.com/HazeBladeTV or twitch.tv/HazeBlade. I also do shorts on how speedrunners beat bosses as well. Mainly the last couple of months I've been covering Wuchang as well as Metal Gear Solid Delta. So check those out if you'd like. And I'll be covering a lot more games in the future as well. And if there's a game that you'd like to see me cover in those shorts, be sure to let me know, and I would love to do that. We're cooking up a lot of things over on the short side of things, so can't wait to share more with you guys on that soon.
Hey, very cool. Thank you for sharing that, and especially the passion for breaking down how these things happen in speedruns. That's very, very cool of you. And yeah, like previously mentioned, 5 o'clock Eastern time or equivalent in local time on Sunday, January 4th to catch. And welcome back to the Games Done Quick Hotfix, and welcome back to Out of the Box. Before we get started with our next run for the evening, I just want to thank you all for supporting Games Done Quick just by watching and with subscriptions, gift subs, and bits cheered. Your contributions are what help keep our programming running. If you're enjoying the stream, consider subscribing for exclusive emotes, ad-free viewing, and access to the chat during replays. You can also always support the stream by sharing the Games Done Quick channel with your friends. So, we're making a transition from wuxia to ninjutsu, from 3D to 2D, but the year of the ninja continues on with our next run. This is going to be an any% restricted of Ninja Gaiden Ragebound with Wody B. Wody, let's see the moves.
This is where I would do my best Captain Falcon. It's like, show me your moves. Wait, no, that's Captain Falcon. That's a Fox. I'm missing up my Nintendo characters here. Wait, no, it is. You know what?
No,
moving on.
You were right the first time.
I was right. Yep. Nope. Moving on.
Show your moves.
But yeah, I'm Wody B. Welcome to Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Some of you watching this may know who I am and are very confused that I'm
that might have come up during our setup just now.
A 2D action game when I'm notoriously known for role-playing games. But you know, sometimes you find a game you enjoy and it speaks to you in some ways. And I wanted to try something, ironically, out of the box for me.
Aha!
Believe it or not.
Finally, it only took us like 19 episodes for someone to hit on the other meaning of out of the box. Part of me, like, if I ever get the April 1st spot, I'm going to do the other side, like only games that require extremely Byzantine setups to do. So look forward to that one.
Nice. I look forward to that. But you know, let's jump into it. It's a pretty straightforward run. You know, sometimes a change of pace from a menu-heavy, strat-heavy RPG is nice, and that's kind of what this is. So I'm gonna, when I select a new profile here, that will pretty much be beginning of the run. So I'll count us down if we're ready. And with that
do
said,
it.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Good luck.
Thank you. So Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. It is a new 2D game in the Ninja Gaiden series. It's like the first one. Oh my god! I think like since even before the Xbox, 3D games were a thing. Like I'm trying to remember. I think the last time we had one might have been on the Super Nintendo. Like I think it's just been that long since we've had
Yeah, I mean, like even
a 2D
Dragon
game.
Sword, the DS one was technically
3D,
like a 2.5
yeah.
or a 3D, yeah.
Yeah. But this game is brought to us by the Game Kitchen. For those of you who are aware, that's the Blasphemous creators. Yeah, honestly, it's a pretty straightforward run. This first stage is kind of like a prologue of sorts. You're just kind of playing as this. I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've watched the cutscenes. I want to say this is just a random ninja of the Hayabusa village, no one of any particular significance, because immediately after this stage, we will switch to our main character. But this is the game's way of just introducing to you the mechanics, how to play, how to attack, how to jump. We'll get some other techniques after this is done, but really the stage is just kind of running through. A lot of what we do is the enemy patterns are pretty much set for the difficulties, so things I'll preemptively run towards or head towards, I'm doing because I know that's where they're going to spawn or where they're going to come from. And so we use that to our advantage to make sure we get in and out of fights quickly as possible.
You say no one of note, but if I remember right, this is actually Joe Hayabusa, the
Yes.
leader of the clan at this point in time.
That's what it was. Thank you. Yes, see, this is what happens when you stop watching cutscenes.
There. I love the
Like,
idea of running a legendary series like Ninja Gaiden and running JRPGs and just like, no, my focus is elsewhere. The stories are great, I'm sure, but
Yeah, I gotta go fast, man.
Exactly.
I've seen the cutscenes once. I'm good.
there.
But we are now moving into the more present time, where we are playing as Kenji. The story of this game actually runs parallel with the original game. So while Hayabusa is off in America dealing with things, Kenji is here in Japan dealing with demons threatening the Hayabusa clan. But here, Hayabusa is basically training us, teaching us things. So this is kind of like deflecting projectiles, but we have to do 3 of them. But on the last one, we are going to actually use a thing called the guillotine boost. Oh, hold on. The technique is not working. Usually this is pretty consistent. This is the one time it's not playing nice. So I might have to take a slower route. If this continues. All right. We will just take the scenic route. All right. Normally we do a little hop up ledge, like to. What's happening? All right. There we go. All right.
There it is.
So there's this thing where when we're kind of on an angled slope and we kind of like jump, it actually kind of shoots us backwards and up. We can kind of skip some of the platforming we have to do. Times where, I don't know, it just doesn't work for some reason. But there's always an alternative option. But yeah, here we're just going through the dojo as the game teaches us more of the mechanics. The little glowy stuff you see are called hypercharges. They play a pretty big role in a number of things, so we have to hypercharge to break these big things. Now, when you do hypercharge, it does take away some HP, which we will use for various reasons, for like boss fights. We have to basically take out a bunch of training dummies, and we also do want to make sure we're low HP as much as possible towards the end of this stage. So here we've got a few rounds of these things we have to take out. The order kind of expects you to defeat them in a way that lets you use the hypercharges to your advantage, so you can break the big ones. The small ones you can just attack, because enemies in this game can be essentially taken out with single hits, except for like bosses and some other select enemies. But here we have a showdown with Hayabusa. If you're able to beat him, you actually will unlock hard mode early on. But we are in a speed run, and so we just want to lose as quickly as possible.
Yeah, even on the previous screen there, the achievement in game for completing the dummy ambush in one try. Yeah, there's a reason that's an achievement. This game really gives you a lot to juggle with the hypercharges and the rest of the movement tech. Not to say anything of the extra movement tech with the guillotine jumps that Wody was describing earlier. It's definitely a lot to wrap your head around at first.
Yeah, it's a lot of managing of HP and key charges, because what you'll see, basically all levels are kind of like what you're seeing right now. It's just a lot of rolling through the stage and using enemy placement to our advantage to either skip ledges by popping off enemies to quickly grab things that are out of reach, because this game does not have any definition of like ceilings and walls for things. So if a stage has multi-floors to it, then you do have the ability to kind of use the terrain to your advantage to kind of skip things, which we'll see in some later stages. But village is on fire. Now we're just basically going through as quickly as possible. When you do roll, you do become immune briefly. So we do use that to our advantage to roll past enemies or roll through things. There's also a lot of like taking contact damage in order to like boost past something or use it to our advantage to like get past, like maybe gain extra leverage for a like a gap, like to get across a gap, or to maybe skip an on rails section where we're waiting for a platform to move.
Yep, health ain't nothing but a resource, especially as you described or alluded to earlier, since we're going to be getting rid of most of it for boss fights as we go.
Yeah, and that comes in the after the first couple stages, because we don't have the one menu we'll do, the one shop and menu we do until the next stage.
I appreciate also that projectiles, both thrown by enemies and stage hazards, are also things that you can platform off of. It really makes you feel like dynamic when you're on top of everything, or when you know where and when the enemy patterns are.
Yeah, it's very satisfying when you pull off some very impressive movement tech. Here we just have a room with kind of a forced series of encounters. So some of the enemies we're kind of killing off stage. Those big guys with shields, they are basically designed to be killed with hypercharges because they'll die instantly from hypercharges. So we have to kind of plan around the force given hypercharges to take them out as quickly as possible. But here we have our first boss. Basically the strat here is we hypercharge in the beginning to knock him down, and then we're going to hypercharge here before he moves so we can knock him. Because with bosses, a lot of times you can stun them. Here he's going to spawn a hypercharge for us. We're going to stun him again. Here we're just going to take the hit, roll. And one thing I'm doing that might be hard to tell is I'm doing a thing where I'm attacking and crouching as I attack, because it cancels my animation and makes me attack faster.
Got it. So would you normally be doing like a combo system sort of slash if you were letting the animations play all the way through?
No, so there's it kind of, but it's not really like a combo system per se. It's just kind of like he just kind of does like 2 slashes, just kind of like slash slash, and that's it really. It's not like kind of like this basically what I'm running. Okay. That's like really all he does. So by crouching and attacking, we can kind of cancel the animation time. Here we're going to see some of our impressive platforming to skip intended stuff. And one thing I'm doing here is I'm using, which not entirely sure the science behind it, but when you do a guillotine as you land in like a spike pit, you can nullify the damage from hitting the spikes and basically just keep the momentum going. So if you happen to encounter any punji stick or broken bamboo like that acting as spikes in real life, I wouldn't recommend it. But no, I would not. Yeah, honestly, when you started doing it, I'm like, oh, are we just damage boosting across the spikes? Then I realized you weren't taking any damage. I'm like, dang, that is extremely cool. Yeah, one thing I found is unintentionally, because it wasn't working at one point when I switched to PC. It seems to not work if you're above 60 FPS. Because when I locked the game to 60 FPS, it started working again. But when I was like letting it just be whatever, I couldn't get it to work. It seems that you want to be at 60 FPS in order to do it.
You know, it really says something about a series when what we're dealing with here is technically the like side story, the one that the ninja apprentice can deal with, while Master Ninja Ryu Hayabusa has his own adventures over in America.
No, right?
I'm not gonna lie, this seems like the kind of thing you wouldn't necessarily, normally put a novice on. There's kind of a lot going on here.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to protect the village with Hayabusa gone.
Granted. Maybe the timing just didn't line up.
That was their plan all along. Wait till he left.
Right.
That angle.
You just think with this many, with a force this large, that they'd probably have gotten wind of something before Ryu left. But then Ryu has always been a very one-track mind sort of person.
He has been, hasn't he?
Yep. Vengeance for his clan and looking really cool while doing extremely stylish aerial moves like the Azuna drop.
I love the Azuna drop. So there you saw, leading into the fight, I went for a low HP so I can trigger the last stand ability that I have equipped, which is going to give me basically a big boost of damage. Second pattern's a little off.
Hoping to take the one right there, but
Gotta be careful about moving. Whew. Okay.
just in time.
Yeah, boss fights in this run are very, very dangerous because we typically fight them with barely room for like a single hit. But here we have our second playable character, Kumori, who's actually a member of our rival clan, the Black Spiders. These demons don't seem to care who you're working for. They're just here to mess with the country.
As also seen in this year's Ninja Gaiden 4.
Yeah. So Kumori is a little different in that she's more of like a ranged, focused character. So her attacks are always going to be throwing kunais. So when she attacks, they are all range based. And then with the hypercharges, something you'll start seeing. So now if you notice, they're kind of purple. So one thing that's going to happen is we're going to see blue and purple hypercharges. And you have to basically, to gain the hypercharge from killing the enemy that's glowing, you have to kill based on the type of attack. So if they're purple or pink, however you view that color, then it will be a ranged attack. So you have to use a ranged attack in order to get the hypercharge, which right now is why they're only pink here. So I'm getting all of them when they come up. But things will soon change, and I'll have to be smarter about how I attack if I want them. Because then you have to do melee attacks in order to get them with the blue ones.
Kind of an inverse Ikaruga situation.
Yeah.
Where you have to, it's using it to get the power-ups as opposed to having to use the power-ups to defeat the enemies in the first place. But it's a nice little way to incentivize switching up your gameplay and being fully familiar with the character's moveset.
Or I guess similar to Outlands. I had something similar.
Ah, yeah, good call. Yeah, as we make our way through this level, just a quick little teaser on what's coming up. you want to know what's coming up on Hotfix, or if you yourself are interested in showing off a game, run, or showcase on the GDQ channel, you can check out this week's schedule and submit your runs to be showcased at gdq.gg/hotfix.
All right. Improvise a little because our strat went bad. So this boss fight is a very, very interesting fight because it has been changed like 3 times due to patches. So this boss actually used to be one of the easiest bosses in the run because we could easily just stun lock it with the hypercharge. So if you saw throughout the fight, when I hit it with Ravish with a hypercharge,
Ravashi dizzy state briefly.
Basically, you kind of knock her out and she falls down, and then she would get up, warp away, and then you would do the same thing. And you can actually just keep her locked with hypercharges, and the math would actually work out perfectly to where, if I remember correctly, without increased HP, you can do 5 hypercharges before you hit too low of an HP threshold. So it would work out pretty much perfectly to where as long as you didn't miss a hypercharge, you would be able to pretty much defeat her on by the last one. But a patch came out and they changed it. So they made it so she wouldn't stun lock after immediately, because it would be like she warps away, you hit her, she warps away, you hit her, she warps away, you hit her. Then it became you hit her, she warps away, she moves, so she has to move first, stop moving, then you hit her, and you can still stun lock her. It was just a slower fight. Now it became she almost never stun locks without more passage of time or damage. But here we have an auto scroller stage game, as some action stage-based games will typically incorporate. This is just an on-rail stage. So not a whole lot we can do to make this faster because nothing is like time gated. There's no
Yeah, I was going to ask, is there any progression for defeating specific enemies or anything like that?
Nope. Every enemy just kind of moves at the pace of the screen, and they'll either just keep hounding you until you kill them, or they'll disappear because they run off the screen eventually. For this one, I think it's a mix of both. Like, I just kill them because there's nothing else to do while the stage is going on, so why not? Plus, I don't want to die. Like, I guess I could leave them alive, but I feel like that's going to be more of an issue.
Right. Suddenly you're doing a pacifist run, which is, I mean, you probably could do that in at least some Ninja Gaiden games, but it's not usually the idea.
Well, actually, there is a category for pacifist. I don't think there's any runs yet, or it's been fully routed. But there is a category for it, but I have not looked into anything that's been done for it. I think somebody is working on it currently, but
very cool.
Yeah, I'm curious how that's going to work, because unless there's something I'm missing about the game, I'm like, how do you defeat bosses?
Right.
Is it just
it could end up being everything but the bosses.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. This is just the second phase of the stage, so just more of the same. This one, though, so of the 2 auto-scroller stages, of at least auto-scroller entire stages, this is the only one that's kind of like a risk of death. If I don't do these jumps properly, I can fall to my death. There'll be another auto-scroller stage later that is on water, so there is no pitfall traps. So that one has, unless I just take every hit in the book, that one has at least no risk of death if I just want to be lazy and just sit there. But here we get to the end. Now, similar to the Hayabusa fight, this is kind of you can't win this fight, so we just need to lower our HP down as fast as possible, and it ends the encounter. And that's the end of that stage. Now, something that happens in the background that we don't see is that earlier when we defeated that kind of dragon guy. Because now you're probably wondering, why is Kumori in a temporal state? Bad things happened, and both Kenji and Kumori were severely damaged and injured, and they essentially intertwined their souls and are working as one.
Yes,
so
the classic Trine effect, as seen from the hit puzzle platformer Trine.
yeah, pretty much actually. Yeah, I forgot. I haven't played Trine in so long. I forgot about that.
So there 4, 5. There's more
At
of them
least
than you'd think.
4.
Yeah.
At least 4. There might be a 5th one. So what has now happened is now that we've combined, I now have access to both set of moves. So I can throw kunais with the circle button to represent our girl here, and then of course I can basic attack with Kenji, because essentially Kenji is the primary body, so he's the main person. But she does help us. We will see later on there are going to be these sections. This is kind of like tutorial 2.0, because now it's like, here's a tutorial on how to play as both characters.
Right. Oh, hey, did we mention your whole moveset just changed? Sorry, let's take a minute.
But these are the kind of temporal sections I was alluding to. So there are these points where we'll have to basically unleash Kumori to help us maybe access a platform or a door or a switch by going into a different plane of existence, which will maybe make these like platforms appear that can be used. So she does still get some showtime. She's not completely written out of the events of the game and regulated to a ranged attacker only.
Right.
You do still get her full move set at times. We've also unlocked the ability to do Ragebound arts. There are different ones that you can purchase and equip. We just use the default one because it's very powerful. That was something else that of the various patches that have come out did modify. So there was a period of time where if we had low HP and we used the Ragebound art, we would get a huge boost in damage from the attack, which would basically allow us to nuke a lot of bosses pretty heavily as a result. But they did modify it to where your last chance talisman only affects basically basic attacks, range attacks, and guillotine attacks. So there ended up being some. A lot of the boss fights did have a bit of a revision done to them and how they're executed.
Yeah, I can't say I'm terribly surprised that a game that would pride itself on, the technical execution and the difficulty of boss fights would take a look at a synergy that allowed for destroying bosses, kind of effortlessly, and say, yeah, we should maybe take a look at that one.
Here we use taking damage to our advantage to get past those. Game wants you to actually use the little like. I can't. Yeah, oh my god, zip lines.
Yeah. Okay. The combination of the zip lines and then the cog wheels there to raise the blocks to do your platforming.
Yes, and we're like, not interested. So I'm just gonna find a scenic route through.
Jack keeps telling you the scenic route is on Mondays on the GDQ Hotfix. So that is a show about glitchless or no major glitches runs. To be fair, since this is a restricted category, this is kind of the same idea, right? Is there a unrestricted route for this game at this point?
There is. I think it's still like there are like various like glitches and like manipulations that can be done. Some of which have been patched out. It's not something that I think I've seen anybody run. I kind of know the full extent, but there is stuff that can be done that is not allowed in this that would mess with like boundaries and out of bounds. And I know what it is. It was just recently discovered. There's like an invincibility thing. So it was somebody did find out how to basically make your character immune to damage.
Nice.
And so something like that wouldn't be allowed in this category.
Well, that would make the rest of the run rather scenic. You no longer have to worry about taking damage from anything.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
stroll through all these trip mines.
pretty much. Yeah, I mean, there's a very specific setup for it that does involve having like access to Komori and then those temporal planes. So I don't believe it is something that can just be freely done like whenever you want. But on stages that do have those elements, then it can definitely be done on. But here we're just progressing through the stage. There's a lot of pitfall death here.
That was a really cool cycle to go back to the left off of the projectile and up through the stage.
Yeah, it's always nice when you pull those off because the window for that is like really tight. And then like just saw an example of where the fish patterns can mess you up a little bit if they don't come out a certain way.
Yeah, there's something to be said for having the trust in the cycles that you're on and being able to avoid projectiles to just know when you can proceed smoothly through a difficult section like this, but... Is the last chance based on the joint total of both characters' health? Because I see you were burning both down.
So actually, we only have one health bar. So that bottom health bar is actually for ranged attacks for Komori. So if you want Komori if you want to be able to fire ranged attacks, that's what the purple bar is for. And to fill that, you have to do basically do basic attacks or attack enemies to replenish it.
Or akin to a stamina meter, then.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so the health bar is just the top one. And yeah, it's akin to I forgot, it's like 10%, like when you're at like 10% HP or something. You can tell when it activates because what happens is there's like a almost like a blood droplet that appears above like my head. You'll notice it on the like boss fight that's going to be coming up. Here is kind of a nice little skip where we use the enemy that the enemy will always jump at you, and you can time it to where you can grab the ledge. Normally what the game wants you to do here is to go into the Komori section that was right there, and she's going to come all the way around and break the platform. So the whole section there kind of like falls down like one level.
Right, you needed to lower the girders to come to you, but instead you decided to go to them.
Yeah, pretty much. This stage has got some really cool kind of like sections we skip thanks to like damage boosting off stuff and like guiding a bunch of enemies.
There's certainly no shortage of those.
Nah, yeah, it's really neat because a lot of times the game is like expecting you to like run up like the side of the wall and just climb it like normal instead of like jumping off of another enemy and kind of cutting down on some of that like terrain traversal.
Yeah, it's definitely a fundamentally different form of movement, but you can see, even if you just look at like these individual corridors, how much time not having to climb up each of the walls and then jump across can save.
Yep.
Now, are those blasts coming in through the window just for show at this point, or can you actually take damage off those?
Nope, you can take damage off of them. If you're not...
There it is.
Yeah, if you're not hidden behind like a wall or something, then you'll take damage from them. For the most part, like, I mean, taking some of the hits isn't the worst thing. I do want to be mindful of how many I take because the next section may be a little awkward to do if I take too much damage. Because there's a pretty good, I guess I hesitate to call it a skip because it's more, I guess it's a shortcut. We'll call it a shortcut. There's a shortcut coming up in this section that does skip a nice chunk of the stage. But if I take too much damage, I can't do it because I do have to basically damage boost off of an enemy to do it.
Got it.
And stuff, yeah, unfortunately, the pattern got all messed up there.
No worries, you got this. while you work on getting the pattern that you need and making the skip, that'll just give me a minute to tell people about upcoming events with Games Done Quick, including a Black and a Flash's upcoming events speeding through the holidays, December 27th and 28th, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern each day, and Back to Black in February 2026 from the 5th to the 8th, benefiting Race Forward. You can use !BAF in Twitch chat to learn more about those events. If you were watching, incidentally, the Scenic Route on Monday, you might have seen a lot of runs that are going to be featured at Back to Black. There's a very good Elden Ring Night Rain free-player run during that show.
Huh. There it is. I was like, why is it not grabbing the platform?
Where's my platform?
That was another little terrain skip, thanks to just kind of knowing where it is on the map. But yeah, we did get it the second time, for anyone seeing. We basically, there's an enemy that runs and jumps, so we jump into it as it's in the air to guillotine boost and take a hit and jump into the spikes. And then we're able to just kind of grab the ledge. Because one nice thing with the game is like, so you take a hit and you're invulnerable for a little bit. The game is okay with you grabbing like walls that have spikes on them. So like even after that, I was climbing that platform where I was like touching a bunch of spikes and I just kept going until I got to the top end of it instead of waiting for a platform to automatically move. But here's a rematch. This is arguably, in my opinion, one of the hardest bosses for me with the patch changes, because same idea. This boss is just a lot more dangerous when you can't just stun lock it. Oh, I was like a hit away. I should have been a little more cautious.
Yeah, you were looking for space to avoid that projectile. But yeah, you know, you were talking the first one of these where we have the last chance in about how much more damage we're doing, and I feel like the casual viewer and myself for that matter are saying like, wow, this is more damage. These battles must be really intense with base damage.
Yeah, no, they're definitely a lot like more dangerous.
And granted, they're not adhering to the classic, you know, you have like X number of hits, and the danger from the boss is that they're going to intersect with your hitbox, and you can't avoid them. So you have time to learn the patterns with the amount of health that you have, but still, with how long these fights are, it's I imagine losing a battle that close to the end is probably a not uncommon experience during the casual playthrough as well. Very nicely done.
Thank you. Yes, got it. Second try, which recently I'll call that a win for me, because 2 tries is probably the quickest I've had that since the change. But it's a very dangerous fight. Still getting my footing on it. But that boss is down for the count, so we never have to see that boss again, thankfully.
That's good. I mean, unless you want to see it again, in which case you can go over to youtube.com/GamesDoneQuick to catch up on shows like this one and special events and the GDQ marathons. And hey, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on your notifications to stay up to date with all things GDQ. As was mentioned in the last run, if you're looking forward to seeing more of this and seeing more of Wody, you can tune in on Friday, January 9th, around midday Eastern time, or equivalent in local time, for this run at Awesome Games Done Quick 2026.
Yep. So at this point in the story, we're basically having to collect these like 3 soul stones in order to open a gate or something. Like we've been asked to collect these like 3 things to help open seal the portal
Yep. Yeah.
to the
You
demon
gotta
world.
open a thing. You gotta seal a thing. You gotta become the adult version of yourself and go to a destroyed future where a different series. But the principle of collecting things for plot progression in games is the same, I suppose.
Take a hit there, but all right.
Ah, I see. This is the game tutorializing the ability to do the guillotine drop for movement, huh?
Yep, pretty much. The tricky part with that, though, is those enemies will, after a period of time, like go translucent. So you do have to be.
Oh, okay. So your enemy platforms also have platform cycles. Fantastic.
Yeah, pretty much. Move. Okay. Whew.
Wody, between these games and the RPGs that you frequently play, do you find yourself as somebody who will like go through the whole game to kind of get the general mechanics and then optimize on that, or would a game like this, for somebody who is newer to speedrunning but is interested in like action platformers and things of that nature, would you have any recommendations to like potentially starting with individual levels to get better at the mechanics, or is kind of going through the whole sandwich one bite at a time more your style?
So for me, I'm definitely kind of like a go through the whole game kind of person. So there are individual leaderboards for this game, though. I mean, the stuff for that's going to be a little different because I don't believe there's like rules. So like you could technically like, you know, play through the game, get all the items. Yeah. So I mean, it would be a different kind of experience. But honestly, like you would get the basis of how to progress through the level. Because like even if you're like killing the enemies, like or knowing how to like kill the enemies, like we don't really aim to do that. It's more like just the like map traversal is more the key here. But yeah, I'm more of a kind of like a dive in, like do the whole game, like speed run type of person. You know, I'll take them in stride. Like I'll go through each level kind of slowly. I will say, like the nature of this run, definitely feels like I just kind of go out and do it, and you just kind of have to learn like the patterns and like know the timing on things. But honestly, it's a pretty low entry run to learn. You know, there's only one menu. We do like one menu, so there's no
for an RPG fan. That's eating good.
Like yeah, it's only one menu. Like we only do like one shop. For instance, I definitely did that kind of out of order. All right, this is actually gonna be interesting. I'm gonna do a slightly amended strat. I messed up the timing. So this is a boss that we can still kind of heavily stun lock. So we have to kind of wait for it. All right, boss down. All right, boss fights are kind of like focus, take him down. But so that big guy there, he thankfully did not get altered with patches to where you couldn't keep stun locking him. But to stun lock him, you do have to. So you stun lock him, and then you have to like wait a few seconds for him to kind of like recover and almost like be in the mid of his like next action. And then you can stun lock him again. That's kind of what we were doing there. I did accidentally overcharge a little too early, and so I did have to kind of let him do an attack just to keep things rolling before actually committing to the strat originally. But normally, the goal would be not to let him do any of those actions. But here we're on the last stage of the kind of like collect these gems. Thankfully, you can do them in whatever order, and so for timing's sake, we just do them from bottom up because after the game reveals the stages, you're already on the bottom stage. So while I guess the game expects you to do 3-5 last, we do 3-5 first and then 3-3 last. Here we are in a pirate cave. Like I said, more of the same. It's just a lot of movement tech with dodging enemies and rolling through enemies and attacking enemies. It's just the nice simplistic nature of this run. Using damages to just help be invulnerable through sections, which you'll see a lot of in this run. There's some kind of like platforming sections with like movable platforms where to like get through them maybe a little bit quicker, I'll purposely take damage so I can then use the like falling to like push myself over.
Got it. Yeah. So your cycle is based on the extra momentum that you're going to get from taking damage from enemies.
Yeah. You know, there's a cycle there where I can land on the platform closer to the end there instead of having to sit through this, but very hard to match it. Ah, too high. Gotta be careful about ceilings.
True, verticality is no obstacle when there isn't a ceiling, but imagine trying to do an Izuna drop into a ceiling. I don't think that'd work out so well.
Actually, in Dead or Alive 4, when he would Izuna drop, if there was a ceiling, he just kicks him to like the wall and then bounces off of that in order to hit him.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, you're right. They did account for that in the fighting games.
Yeah,
I'd completely forgotten that.
Yeah, in stages that don't have ceilings, it's still Asuna drop. It felt more brutal when you Asuna drop on those stages because you're also getting like hit into a wall.
Oh,
the
yeah,
ceiling.
The hit impacts in the Dead or Alive games were really quite impressive. It was one of the things that sold the intensity of the combat.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite game series for fighting games.
Definitely the one that everybody in my college dorm was in on. So many money matches of DOA 2 and 3 to see who had to order pizza.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, the ethos you were describing as far as how you approach runs, I find is actually very similar to mine. I'm always curious as to how it influences people's opinion of like, you know, where to start on a run. My take on it, generally, what works for me is just kind of getting the muscle memory from doing things. Like, I will let a run that had some good elements that I'm happy with just go through to the end if I have the time for it. Because even if it's not going to PB, it's like, hey, my muscles are a little more trained for how to do this portion of the run. You know, I have that memory down for like, hey, at this portion, I do, you know, this trick in this way, so I won't forget it, especially if it's a run where it's like 100%. You have to remember to get the collectibles in certain places. So I definitely think there's a time and place for both. When it's individual tricks that make or break a level or a segment in a run, then I've kind of broken it down into learning an IL especially close, because, you know, if there are no feasible backups, then you just kind of have to learn how to do it right. But yeah, broadly, I'm in line with the, you know, any run is a good run to learn better how to play the game.
Yeah, a little on rail section. Gonna do ourselves a little low HP creating for our boss fight here.
Boy, the Junji Ito boss, it's full of holes.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Ninja Gaiden was always game for a bit of body horror. They just couldn't depict it quite this vividly back in the NES days.
Oh, I knew that was gonna happen. Oh, man. Yeah, no, it's rough, man, because a lot of these fights, you're, you know, one hit away from death.
Yep, and they're not big arenas, and as we see, there's both projectiles coming at you, and often parts of the arena that are just forbidden to you, like with the slashes that hang there in the air. Good adjustment. Nice second.
Oh my god. Oh, there's too much. There's too much adjusting.
Fair.
Oh, I did the one attack too early, so it didn't stun him. But I had to awkwardly like dodge away. It was like a whole thing.
Gosh.
At this point in the story, we have been betrayed by our FBI buddy, and we've been locked in a prison on a ship. Now we are.
The ship also has these ability to transcend between planes of existence.
I know, right? Super handy.
You see these segments getting longer and more complex.
Well, and a lot of them are actually some of the they actually are home to some of the hardest sections, because the Kumori's primordial sections are also where you will find the secret scrolls. So in true fashion of a level-based action game, there are secret stages that you can unlock. To unlock those stages, you do have to find a scroll, like a ninja op scroll, in stages that feature them. And they are typically found at the end of a very complicated platforming section involving Kumori. Because being in her primordial form is kind of like timed based on like her HP. They can be pretty challenging, pretty tight on like finishing them if you don't do them quickly.
Got it. Shoutouts also to the well, I guess technically a cameo from Muramasa, the shopkeeper from the series. We didn't actually do any shopping, but
we did earlier. That's how we bought The Last Stand.
Exactly.
Here we're basically using the terrain to kind of skip the intended section. We're going to do it again here by bouncing off the bullets to just jump straight up here instead of taking the scenic route, and feature it on another day. Mondays.
Yes. Every other Monday, including the Monday of this week. So we'll see another episode close to the end of the year. And hey, if you can't wait for more Games Done Quick before our week of shows come back around, of course there are shows on both weeks, so pretty much every day except Thursday, and some Thursdays as well. But if you're looking to get more involved with GDQ and do more on top of watching our runs here on the Games Done Quick channel, you can join the official Games Done Quick Discord and add the Hotfix Enjoyer role to stay in the loop on upcoming events. You can also chat with staff, keep in touch with each other, share what runs you're excited for in the Hotfix specific Discord channels, and a lot more. You can use !Discord in the Twitch chat for an invite and more information. See, our spike pits have also now become electrified because they weren't dangerous enough already.
Yeah.
I feel like we're starting to run out of platforms to platform on, but then maybe that's the point.
Yep.
Here we go. We found the platforms again. They're just, every so often now.
Pretty much. Yeah, I got a little, I don't know if I call this like an on-rail thing, but basically like a little arena fight against a bunch of enemies. Like I said, everything's like pattern-based, so all of this is the exact same every time.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be, and with apologies to anyone who runs or enjoys this game, it could be Devil May Cry 2, where, what was it, the infected helicopter boss fight?
You know, I should know more about the Devil May Cry 2 run. But what about, I mean, I remember the infected helicopter fight. I guess, is that fight just rough?
Yeah, just as far as like a boss that does take a while to get through, and you know, when you're hanging around dealing with a helicopter. If I remember right, the boss fight actually is literally just like use your handguns the whole time, and maybe that's just the casual route. I don't know if the speedrun is different, but I'll take the standard helicopter with enemies any day over something like that. I was actually originally thinking, speaking of other games that have
skip.
You're trying to get over the hanging platform. Gotcha. For a second there, I was thinking of Ninja Gaiden, Yaiba? Because that also has a lot of really weird out there boss fights. But then I remembered the chopper was from Devil May Cry, not Ninja Gaiden.
I mean, Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z is just it's a game in its own right.
That's a very judicious and diplomatic way of putting it.
Hey, I own that game. All right, I've played that game.
Same. I'm not one to judge.
It was a game. That's. But yeah, there was one of those kind of like terrain type skips that I was trying to get there. That one's a little bit harder to get because it depends on the positioning of the what is it, the little spider helicopter things.
Got it.
They were basically fighting a naval ship. So this one's a pretty chaotic battle. It's a few phases.
Yeah, this is very like Wild Arms or Sunset Riders sort of thing. You've got your background objects, you've got enemies popping in from the sides to take additional pot shots on you. Very much like a boss in Sunset Riders.
Yeah, it's a pretty chaotic fight. If you, luckily, that fight don't typically do the low HP strat on. So that one you can usually afford to take some hits on if it comes to it. Honestly, there might be a different strat for that fight. I've just been too lazy to look at the better runner times to see if I've just been doing an old strat move. Hey, when I learned the run, that was the strat.
Fair.
But here we have our second full auto-scroller stage.
Yeah, this is the end of Resident Evil 4, right?
Yeah. It's Resident Evil 4 demake.
Yeah, well, with a number of games that are getting that kind of treatment, I think if you watch Speeding Through the Holidays, you will catch I think there's a Mega Man X8 16-bit demake that gets shown off a decent amount. It's an impressive piece of work, especially for turning Mega Man X8 into something that's more digestible and enjoyable.
Yeah,
Another one of those games. It's very much a product of it. It's no X5 or X6, but it's still a product of its time.
Esbo. Yeah, thankfully, this stage there's not really a risk of death. So I mean, I could be more lax and just kind of chill here. I wanted a moment because this run really doesn't have any stop. Like it's just kind of go for like an hour in like 15 minutes. Or even faster. I think world record's like a 106. But stage is over. Now we enter the last 4 stages. Stuff gets pretty intense with these next set of stages. So more enemies on screen, a lot more risk of death.
Yeah, I figured from the
dangerous boss
enemies
fights
with the giant spike shields, the more you probably have more consistent hurt boxes from enemy attacks and stage hazards. So things get harder to dodge through because they probably figure you know how to do that by now. I like that you can multi-tap the girder or the flying crates. Not that it does you any good, but a lot more airtime. Which is, oh wait, never mind.
I didn't
I
get
was
it.
so hoping to be proven wrong as I was saying that.
I know. I just needed to be a little bit more to the right. That would have been. Oh god, that would have been nice. Would have been the first time I pulled that off. But there's actually something with the girder. So on the first girder, if you actually do jump up and hit it, what actually happens is the enemy that jumps into this screen will actually, like, for some reason, like, attack you mid-air, and then he will. Oh, okay, this isn't good. Oh, whoo! Okay,
Good save.
I had to recover there. I got a little dicey for a second there. So there's an enemy that if you jump off of the cargo container, he will attack you actually mid-air, and for some reason he'll just fall off the stage. He'll just fall through some sort of invisible nothingness and take himself out.
We take those. I mean, you know, it'd work in pacifist, right?
Yeah, actually, it's true. Especially for I guess you don't have to kill the enemies. You can just wait for the platform to, like.
Yeah, I have to imagine that's how all the auto-scrollers progress, which make them probably some of the most difficult levels, because you can't just avoid the enemies, you have to wait them out.
Or you just get a lot of enemies on screen.
Ah, fair.
Yep. Here's one of the more dangerous areas because if I fall into the lava pit, I will take damage, and if I don't get out of it, I will die the next time I take a hit, regardless of where my HP is. And of course, I can be crushed by these things, so definitely one of the more dangerous stages from a terrain point of view. But we're thankfully out of there.
Appreciating that for all of the tremendous quantity of OSHA violations in this factory, that there is at least railings that, you know, are ostensibly around the giant boiling pits of lava. So they got one thing going for them.
Hey, you gotta have something in place.
Those are extremely long jeeps.
Yeah.
I suppose if you knew that Ninja could do this, you'd probably build them longer on the hopes of, you know, they bounce off and then they run off the back of the car and get hit that way.
Yeah, if only I could run off the back of a car.
I mean, you could do most things once.
Oh, you got me there.
Probably not the best for the sake of consistency, though, which is what we often advocate for in speedruns.
Here we get introduced to these, like, mutated creatures that they're, like, working on with, like, combining, like, demons and humans. Now on to another boss.
Okay, see, I saw that giant metal arm and I thought demon minigunner, and then he came at you swing. Ah, flamethrower. Okay, close enough. Nice. Definitely showed the boss the respect it deserved there for the last couple of attacks.
Yeah, I was like, I missed the pattern. I'm gonna take a moment here.
Yeah, hang back just a little bit.
I'm gonna hang back just a little bit and play it a little smart. I've lost enough time on other failed boss fights. Unrelated, the outfit I'm wearing is actually a free update. It's actually the protagonist of Ninja Gaiden 4's outfit, Yakumo.
True.
I guess nobody maybe caught that. Honestly, I've been using this outfit so long that I didn't even recognize when my character was it featured in one of the GDQ banners when I was looking at them. I was looking at it, I was like,
wearing?
I was like, there's a ninja, and I was like, is this supposed to be my character? And everyone's like, yeah, it looks exactly like him. And then I double checked the outfit. I was like, oh yeah, that is his normal outfit. Yeah. I've just been using the Yakumo outfit so long, I forgot.
Yeah, this is much more akin to the 3D Ninja Gaiden, which we got 2 this year. Talk about eating good as a franchise.
Yeah.
And the Black Edition of Ninja Gaiden 2 and 4.
Sure, we did get the Black Edition of 2 just shadow drop on us.
That is also a run that I understand has been changed not insubstantially through patches over the course of the year. It's definitely an additional piece of like kind of pseudo homework that you assume on yourself when you start running new games.
Yeah, I thankfully, even though I've ran enough new games that have been affected by patches, like Clair Obscure, and because that's also had a lot of changes because of patches, a lot actually. The 7 remake and this like that series, a patch has never made a run worse. It's only made it better, actually. The patches we've gotten in 7 Remake and 7 Rebirth have actually made the run faster. That was funny.
Nice.
How my platforming does here. Section's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird for that reason.
Half of the platforms having that handhold from below and half of them being ones you climb up the sides. I could see you were kind of looking to get up and over the handholds on at least some of the platforms in the middle.
Yeah. And sometimes there's like this weird thing where I touch like the side of it and like shoots me down. Placement is just very awkward on those like canisters sometimes. But I got through without dying, which is a win in my book. Cool. Because yeah, if you fall in the acid bath, you die.
All right.
Oh no!
Okay. If you get bisected by a spinning disc, you also die.
Oh
I took out my notes so I could update them about the acid bath, and now I get another thing to add.
Oh no! And I was right at the next checkpoint, so I'm redoing this entire section. I was like partially worried. I was like, oh, that blade's gonna hit me, isn't it? I didn't want to be right, but I ended up being right. Yeah. So these blades will, shoot out.
And the different timing they trace across the 2 walls. Well, no wonder that, at this point you're probably expecting to use a lot of your movement tricks, but in that particular corridor, it seems like it's much better for consistency's sake to just do the rolls and deal with the pattern along the bottom. Because otherwise you could put yourself in the path of the other set of blades.
Yeah, pretty much. Oops.
I'm going to assume the platforms that are sparking on the top potentially drop if you spend too long on them. Is that a
nope.
thing that happens?
Nope. Just said spark.
Okay. Okay, yeah,
No.
it's just as the movement cycles. I'm like, all right, we saw a couple of them doing this. Is this a gameplay mechanic or just a visual touch?
Visual touch.
That's good. I feel like it would have been especially mean with all the enemies here to also have some of these platforms start dropping away on you.
Yeah, no, it would have been. It definitely would have been.
Well, I feel like I might have just given them an idea for a future patch.
If there may not be any more patches, because according to the Steam page, with the 3rd update, it was like, this is our last major update.
Yeah, and that's the nature of games these days. Not everyone can be Yacht Club and turn Shovel Knight into like 4 expansions and 3 spin-off games, and kind of sustain a studio for what 9 or 10 years on that. Speaking of which, very much looking forward to Mina the Hollower. I know we're getting closer on that.
Oh yeah, that's our next game. And here we've got these like gas chambers that if we don't break the glass quickly or before the room fills up with gas, we die. Thankfully, they will go down instantaneously with a hypercharge, which you can usually acquire a few in those rooms. We are almost to the boss. Favorite setup. I think because I took some damage. Careful. Oh god.
Yeah. Say once those electric bolts came out, I figured it was trying to throw you off of the pattern it had already taught you how to do with hitting the giant iron balls back.
Well, even then, the boss's patterns seem to vary because sometimes he'll do that. He'll slam the ground. He'll do an eye laser. There's like there's a few give and takes to what happens. All right, 2 more stages. Though this is, for me, the most dangerous stage because this boss fight is something. While a different boss was made harder, this boss has always been a kind of a pain, even from the beginning. This one's a little bit, this boss, I mean, I know I'm talking about the boss now, we still got a stage to play, but this boss, you'll see at the end, is still very dangerous because of the nerf to how, because I don't know if I think the damage scaling with your Ragebound art works, because now I can't like nuke the bosses effectively. Yeah, you guys will see. Might be focus time for me on that one. It's
Sure.
a tight boss fight. But for now, we're just gonna run along a bunch of trains. I actually really like the stage from from just the progression. Like when you do this stage like really cleanly and nice, it just visually is just very appealing.
Sure.
If you can just kind of get into this like pattern where you're just non-stop moving and just splashing through enemies,
The idea,
it's just,
especially in more classic games or even classic inspired games, the idea of the like god cycle that takes you through a level or a large section of a level in one continuous movement. Easier said than done with the enemy density here.
Oh, it gets worse.
Of course it does. I was gonna say the stage obstacles are one thing, but the bullet patterns are. This is almost Castlevania-esque. Thankfully, you don't have the knockback physics and the movement style of that game. That would be nightmarish.
Yeah, it would. Hey, I've never done that before.
Okay,
what?
I was literally about to ask, hey, Wody, has that ever happened before?
No, I've never accidentally moved that far to the left. That's unfortunate because that was kind of the tail end of that section.
Time to say the thing, chat.
Yeah. Just the awkward stuff out of the way now.
Yeah, it's true. Shaking the nerves out before the boss. That didn't say that never happened before, but they did say you might have gone a little overboard.
I see what you did there.
Now a good exam there on can you dodge your way through enemies and fight in tight spaces. I like it.
Now for now for an on-rail section.
Hooray! Except you're the rail, and everything else is coming at you.
Yep, pretty much. So the bird enemies will typically never get close to me, but we also don't really want them firing projectiles because they do become very awkward to deal with. Because if I fall and I don't latch back on, I die and have to redo this entire section. And then at the end here, I have to be careful. And I usually wait for the enemy to shoot their gun before jumping. Because I did one time get hit by them, and then I fell to my death. So, lesson learned. Fool me once, shame on me.
Look, I mean, it's a pass-fail state. You either bounce off the bullet or you don't.
Pretty much. All right, here we go.
Do it.
It's gonna mess up my. Yeah, it's not good. This pattern's pretty bad.
Oh.
Yeah, so
I'll get you.
Yeah, because I just wasn't dealing enough damage quick enough, unfortunately.
Was that essentially a different phase? Does that attack get triggered at times other than when it's at low health? Okay.
No, so it's just something that like triggers after. So it usually triggers after like a certain pattern, but then like when it. Oh man, that I wasn't expecting to happen.
That's me. Sorry, I distracted you there.
No, you're fine.
The
You're
lock
fine.
in by all means.
Rolled the wrong way. That's unfortunate. Yeah, the boss is just very, very tight on its like DPS output.
At that point, because you're at 1 HP, you really are just DPS checking. You're racing it to the bottom of the health pool. Hey, did we mention that this is a Ninja Gaiden game and that playing those at really low health is a very difficult endeavor? It's going for the different attack a lot more often now. Is that just a kind of a factor of how much damage you're dealing to it and when?
I'm just trying a different strat so we can get through the fight.
That'll do it.
Yeah, I don't want to risk any more time loss on it.
There. Yeah, watching you and that boss do those dodges basically in unison every time, like that's a testament to having the muscle memory down for how to fight that boss.
Yeah, no, it's definitely my weakest fight. And we are on the final stage.
Shoutouts to the devs and the publishers and the billboards in the background there.
Yeah, I think I really noticed that.
Yeah, we had Game Kitchen, .emu, Koei Tecmo.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That's true. All right, now a couple on rail sections. Yeah, funny enough, the final stage is actually a lot easier than the previous stage. The train stage is, I think, overall the hardest stage.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. You know, they want to build up like the climactic energy, but they don't necessarily want to continue punishing you after putting you through a really difficult stage. It's kind of like how the what is it, the Air Force and the long auto scroller stages in Super Mario Brothers 3 close to the end aren't really inherently that difficult.
Yeah,
they certainly do a good job of building things up thematically, not unlike this.
Yeah, because the last stage is actually mostly on rails. It's kind of a don't die to the screen shifting. And then, you know, just a really lengthy boss fight. Now we're on rail 2.0.
Yep, and then don't die to the screen filling up at the bottom. I mean, it's basically just a pit. It's just a very hot pit.
Yeah, watch over these enemies that keep trying to slash at me.
Right, you technically have your air recovery, but you take a hit too close to the bottom, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah. Gotta be careful about climbing too far on the left side there so it doesn't trigger the falling rocks before you can dodge them. Thankfully, the game gives us nice little visual cues when there's a platform about to fall. All right. Auto scroller is done. Orange section done. Ah, got him before he went invisible. All right. Time for the final boss. So here we don't do the low HP strat for this. At least not initially.
For a second there, I wasn't sure if you were going to end that initially or intentionally.
All right, and when the cage closes, we use our Ragebound art to break it. Oh, I missed. gonna damage it. There we go. Boss is down, but it is not time yet. There's still more game. Now we have to pick a character to essentially sacrifice. And we do Kenji because Komori has range attacks, and so we can basically stand on this side if we position ourselves properly and hit all three of these rocks at the same time. All right, still not time yet because there's actually a running section before the game is over, but runs pretty much over. We're just gonna run all the way to the left until we get back to the village. Once we lose
credits at the end, I like it.
Yeah, and with the credits rolling in the background. But take this time to just thank GDQ for inviting me on here to be a part of Hotfix to showcase this run.
Hey, our pleasure.
It's a fun, simple run. I mean, it's difficult to get really good at and like master, but it's a very easy run to like at least learn and get a basis for, because there's only really one menu. You just have to learn the patterns and and know how to fight the bosses, and once you kind of get that down, then it's just repetition at that point. Check out the Ninja Gaiden actually time's coming up here in, give me a moment, and time.
GG.
I think we just... Oh, no, it was under one.
Yeah, it was like a 1-1.
Yeah. All right, cool. But thank you so much. Like I said, Ninja Gaiden has a ton of games for you 2D enjoyers and you 3D enjoyers. I'm very new to the community. It's my first Ninja Gaiden game that I started with, but I do run a number of other games. Right now, I am focused on running this until GDQ, since I will be showing this at GDQ. And as you witnessed, the run can punish you very quickly if you aren't careful or don't adjust properly. So I want to make sure I'm in tip-top shape for the main stage. But yeah, thank you so much, T-Tree and everyone
the
for having
games
me.
that you're in is really something special. You have Ragebound and then some Mario Kaizo with Super Mario Brothers 2 Return to Subcon, and then Demon Souls and Dark Souls all in a row.
Nice. Good.
So
good string of
definitely a good hard game block.
good hard game block. I agree. Yeah, Friday, GDQ week, that Friday morning, I'll be doing this run.
Very, very cool. Yeah, definitely come on back for that. And feel free to follow Wody, as the link is in the chat there. And stay tuned for more of his runs over on his channel. And more GDQ Hotfix coming up with Creature Corner right after the break. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves an excellent rest of your night. Stay tuned for more GDQ.